I stared at the cream-colored envelope longer than anyone should stare at a wedding invitation. The gold script curled around my name like it was trying to be gentle. Miss Evelyn Harper and guest. Inside, Sarah had written in her careful, looping handwriting, "Evie, I know things have been hard since Mom. Please come. I want my sister there more than anything. It won't feel right without you." The cardstock was thick and expensive. The envelope even had a faint scent of lavender, her favorite. I set it on the kitchen counter and walked away. Came back 10 minutes later, picked it up again, put it down. 6 months earlier, we'd stood side by side at Mom's funeral in that too-bright chapel on Beacon Hill. Rain tapped the stained glass windows like impatient fingers. Sarah gripped my hand until it hurt, her nails digging in during the eulogy. When the minister asked if anyone wanted to speak, she'd shaken her head no, tears streaming, and leaned into me instead. "We'll get through this," she whispered. "Together. Like always." I believed her. I needed to believe her. We were the Harper girls. Sarah, the responsible one who stayed close to home, married young, built a stable life. Me, the restless one who moved cities every couple of years, chasing freelance gigs and sunrises I could photograph. Mom used to joke that Sarah inherited the anchor and I inherited the sail. But that day in the chapel, with the scent of lilies too heavy in the air, I thought maybe the anchor and sail could finally moor in the same harbor. Mom had been very clear about the Cape House. 2 weeks before the end, when the hospice nurse had stepped out for coffee, Mom tugged me closer to the hospital bed. Her voice was barely above a rasp, but her eyes were sharp. "Evie," she said, "the beach house at 12 Ocean View Lane. It's yours. Not shared, not sold. Yours." I started to protest. Said Sarah might need the money, that I didn't even live anywhere long enough to deserve a whole house. But Mom squeezed my wrist with surprising strength. "No," she said. "You're the one who still sits on that porch swing at dawn, waiting for the light to change. Sarah has her brownstone, her garden club, her plans. You need roots, baby girl. Somewhere to come back to when the world gets too loud. Promise me you'll keep it." I promised. She'd already written it into the will in her own trembling hand. "The property at 12 Ocean View Lane shall pass directly to my daughter, Evelyn Marie Harper." Sarah was named executor. Mom trusted her to handle the paperwork, the taxes, the small things. We all did. Then came April. I was at my desk in the open plan office, pretending to revise an ad copy for a toothpaste brand, when my phone buzzed with a Zillow alert I'd set up on a whim months earlier. Just nostalgia, really. I clicked without thinking. Sold. $1.25 million. Listing removed 2 weeks ago. Seller, Sarah Harper Wilson, executor of the estate of Margaret Harper. The room tilted. My coffee went cold in 30 seconds flat. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. I called the closing attorney before the panic could fully settle. "Ms. Thompson," I said, voice surprisingly level. "There's been a mistake. The Cape House was left specifically to me." A long pause, then the gentle, practiced sigh of someone who delivers bad news for a living. "Evelyn, your sister had full executory authority. She documented maintenance issues, outstanding property taxes, and potential liens from medical expenses. The court approved the expedited sale to preserve estate value. I'm sorry. Medical expenses were covered by insurance," I said. "Mom told me. I have the statements. Probate allows discretion," she replied softly. The will's specific bequest was noted, but the executor's fiduciary decisions supersede in cases of estate preservation. You could contest it, but it's closed. Closed. I hung up and sat there until my coworker asked if I was okay. I mumbled something about allergies and went to the bathroom. Locked myself in a stall, cried until my mascara ran black rivers down my cheeks. Not loud sobs, just the quiet, shuddering kind that makes your ribs ache. Sarah hadn't called to tell me, hadn't texted, hadn't even mentioned the house was on the market. She'd just handled it. I thought about calling her right then. I rehearsed the words in my head. How could you? Mom wanted me to have it. You knew. But every version sounded either too angry or too broken. and I wasn't sure which was worse. Instead, I went home, opened a bottle of the cheap red Mom used to like, and sat on my tiny balcony overlooking a parking lot. Watched the city lights smear through tears. Thought about the porch swing on the Cape, the way the chains creaked in the breeze, the salt air, Mom's laugh when I tried, and failed, to skip rocks across the tide pools. Gone. All of it. Sarah's wedding was in June. Invitations had already gone out by then. She'd posted photos of dress fittings, floral mock-ups, cake tastings. Every story she tagged me in felt like a small betrayal wrapped in pastel ribbon. I could have declined, could have ghosted, could have sent a polite, unable to attend card, and disappeared for a while. But disappearing felt too final, like admitting she'd won whatever silent war we were fighting. So I RSVP'd yes, checked the chicken box, bought the stupid blender off her registry because it was on sale and I'm petty in small, harmless ways. The months between April and June passed in a strange fog. Work, coffee, therapy once a week, where I mostly talked about Mom and only mentioned Sarah in passing. My sister sold the house Mom left me, I said once. My therapist nodded and asked how that felt. I said, like someone cut a piece out of me and pretended it was for my own good. I started running again. Early mornings along the Charles River, pounding pavement until my lungs burned and the thoughts quieted. I took more photos. Sunrises over bridges, fog on the water, strangers walking dogs. Anything to remind myself the world still turned without that particular porch. I didn't confront Sarah, not yet. Every time I drafted a text, I deleted it. I wanted to see her face when the truth came out. Not in anger, in honesty. The day of the wedding arrived humid and golden. Harborview reception hall smelled like roses and sea salt candles. White lights draped the ceiling like captured stars. Round tables with blush linens, centerpieces spilling over with peonies. The band played soft jazz during cocktail hour. Guests in pastel dresses and linen suits laughed too loudly, clinking glasses. I wore Mom's navy dress, the one she'd bought me for graduation because you need something that makes you feel steady. It still fit, though the seams felt tighter across the chest. No +1. I couldn't ask anyone to witness this. Aunt Linda spotted me first. She smelled like white diamonds and enveloped me in a hug that lasted too long. Evie, honey, you look beautiful. Sarah was worried you might not come. I'm here, I said. She patted my cheek. Good. Family sticks together. I smiled because it was easier than arguing. Dad found me near the bar. He looked older than I remembered. Thinner, eyes shadowed. He pulled me into a one-armed hug. You came, he said, voice rough with something like relief. Of course. He studied my face. You okay? I shrugged, working on it. He nodded, didn't push. That was Dad, never one for big emotions. He'd let Sarah handle most of the funeral details too. Let her decide the flowers, the music, the obituary wording. I hadn't minded then. Now it felt like another small abandonment. Sarah appeared like something out of a magazine, lace gown trailing, veil soft as a cloud, eyes bright. When she saw me, she crossed the room in a rush, heels clicking. Evie. She pulled me into a hug that smelled like Mom's perfume. You're here. Thank you. Her arms were tight. I let myself hug back for a second, felt the tremble in her shoulders. Grief, maybe, or nerves, or guilt. I didn't know anymore. Wouldn't miss it, I said quietly. Dinner came. Chicken with lemon sauce, speeches. The maid of honor cried about soulmates, and forever. Mark talked about Sarah's generosity, her strength. Everyone clapped. I sat with my hands in my lap, knuckles white. The MC took the mic again. Any more toasts from family or friends? The room quieted expectantly. I felt it. The moment I'd carried for months. Like a stone in my chest, finally ready to be set down. I stood. Heads turned. Sarah's smile froze mid-sip. I walked to the front, took the microphone. My palms were damp, but my voice came out even. Hi, everyone. I'm Evie, Sarah's younger sister. A ripple of warm smiles. I'm not good at public speaking. Never have been. But there's something I need to say tonight. Not to hurt anyone. Not to take away from how happy you all look. Just because keeping it inside has been heavier than I can carry anymore. I took a breath. 6 months ago, we lost Mom. Some of you were there. You saw how close we were, the three of us, Mom, Sarah, me. After she passed, Sarah stepped up, handled everything. The paperwork, the house, the estate. I trusted her. We all did. I paused. Let the room lean in. Mom left me the Cape house. She wrote it in her will herself. Said, Evie needs it. The porch swing, the sunrise, the quiet. It wasn't about money. It was about memory, about a place to remember her. I looked at Sarah. She was pale, veil trembling slightly. In April, I found out it was sold. 1.25 million. The listing said estate preservation. But there were no pressing debts, no emergencies, just a decision. The quiet was thick now. No whispers, just listening. I'm not standing here to demand the house back, or money, or an apology in front of everyone. I'm standing here because I needed you to know, Sarah, Dad, all of you, why I felt so far away these past months. Why parts of me went quiet. Mom's last gift to me is gone, and that hurts more than I can explain. I looked around the room, saw Aunt Linda's hand over her mouth, Dad's head bowed, Mark confused and concerned. I love my sister, I said. I always will. She's not a villain. She's just human, scared, trying to build something solid in a world that keeps shifting. But I can't pretend this didn't happen. I can't smile and cut cake and act like everything's fine when a piece of Mom is missing. My voice cracked on the last word. I swallowed hard. So that's it. That's what I needed to say. I'm going to step outside now. Enjoy the rest of the night. The cake looks amazing. The band is great. Sarah, you look beautiful. I mean that. I set the mic down gently. No feedback squeal, just soft footsteps as I walked to the side door. Outside the air was cool, salty. I leaned against the railing, stared at the harbor lights reflecting on black water. Tears came, slow, steady. Not rage, just grief wearing a new shape. No one followed right away. Later, my phone lit up. Dad, I'm sorry, Evie. I should have asked more questions. Call when you want. I love you. Sarah, text, then voice note. Evie, I didn't realize how much it would hurt you. I thought I was fixing things, protecting the family. I was wrong. I'm so sorry. Please don't vanish. I listened to her voice, shaky, small. I didn't reply that night. Weeks blurred into summer. I didn't file lawsuits, didn't demand repayment. Dad quietly arranged to transfer what he could from his portion of the estate, enough for a modest down payment. I found a small cabin in Vermont, near a lake, east-facing porch, nothing grand, but mine. I moved in August, hung a wooden swing the second weekend, simple, creaky, perfect. Bought a second Adirondack chair just in case. Mornings became a ritual, coffee in hand, bare feet on cool wood, watching the sun rise gold over the water. Some days I talked to Mom out loud, told her about work, about the heron that visited the dock, about how much I missed her laugh. Sarah and I texted sporadically. How's the new place? Cold enough for a sweater yet? Safe things, no deep dives. One October morning, the lake was still glass. Mist rose off the surface. I took a photo of the swing at sunrise, chains glinting, sky turning pink, and sent it to her. No words. Hours later, she replied, It's beautiful. Mom would have loved sitting there with you. I stared at the message for a long time, typed, yeah, she would, then added, I'm not ready to talk about everything yet, but I'm not gone forever, okay? Her response came fast, okay, thank you, Evie. I set the phone down, picked up my coffee. I watched the light shift across the water. The ache is still there, some days sharp, some days dull. But it shares space now with other things. Bird calls at dawn, the smell of pine, The slow certainty that I can build something new without erasing what came before. Family isn't always repaired in big gestures or apologies. Sometimes it's just leaving the door cracked, showing up in small ways, letting time do the quiet work. And for the first time since Mom left, that feels possible. I rock gently on the swing. The chains creak like memory. The sun climbs higher. I breathe in. I stay.